know, I promised that I wasn't going to waste any more of my time watching any more of Mig Killer's vapid videos, but I have to tell you, when I saw 3 responses to my declaration to that effect, my curiosity just got the best of me. And I do want to respond right now because he brings up a point at the very last video that I'm responding to right now that is a great big trap that he fell into, that all moderate Christians fall into, and so I think it's worth discussing. The specific nature of the trap that he fell into was where he was trying to answer my main criticism, which is that the Gospel of John, even if we swallow all of these fudge factors that he wants to hand us, the Gospel of John cannot be reconciled with the Synoptic Gospels. And his response to that was, well, you know, these are historical documents and eyewitness accounts, and sure, you're going to have historical documents that contradict each other, or indeed themselves. He says that Josephus contradicted himself, and you're going to have different people who have different perspectives on an event. You're going to have people who get it wrong, who get a date wrong, or something like that, and that doesn't mean we throw the whole thing out. Excuse me? Isn't this supposed to be the Word of God? See, that's a very simple question that causes moderate Christians to just tie themselves up into knots. The fact of the matter is, they can't answer a very simple question that calls for a yes or no answer. Now, the fundamentalist Christian, as much as I think their worldview is crazy, at least they're consistent, and they have no trouble with this question. The fundamentalist Christian will say, yes, this is the Word of God, it is timeless, it is inerrant, it is absolutely without contradiction, it is completely universal. And they will take that to its logical conclusion, saying the world is 6,000 years old, that evolution is a big lie that is promoted by this worldwide atheist conspiracy that has taken over the scientific and academic communities. No doubt Satan's involved in that. There are invisible angels and demons fighting all around us. There's all this magic and sorcery and witchcraft, or that all these things are real. They will tell you that all of these things are absolutely real because it's in the Bible. They will take it to its logical conclusion. Meanwhile, the free thinker also has no trouble answering that question. They will say, no, it's not the Word of God. The moderate Christian is sort of existing in this no man's land between the two camps, searching for some kind of middle ground that simply doesn't exist. Either it is the Word of God or it's not the Word of God. There is no sort of kind of option. And the difficulties, the mental gymnastics they have to do is really underscored by a text exchange I had with Mig Killer on that video. I asked a very simple question. Is it the Word of God or not? Make up your mind, you can't have it both ways. His response, it contains the Word of God. My response, so which parts are the Word and which parts are human corruptions? His response, the parts which were written by the apostles or accurately recount the teachings and events of the life of Christ, and the books which were written by the prophets of Israel. Okay, so the whole thing then. Why didn't you just say so? So it has no contradictions then, being the Word of God? And his response, well, a sizable portion of it is the Word of God. And on the contradictions point, he said, sure, there are contradictions. I personally have yet to find any, but I haven't investigated the Bible word for word, and it would be, therefore, would be wise to assume that because there were multiple authors, that there are contradictions. So, my response to a sizable portion, so which parts then? How can we tell? Is there a secret code? And his admission, sure, there are contradictions, so it's not the Word of God then. And his response, well, the parts which were written by the prophets and the actual apostles. So again, we're back to the whole thing is the Word of God. And so it's not the Word of God then. His response, why must a set of documents be contradiction-free in order to contain the Word of God? My response, because A, there would be one author, and B, that author would be God. See, I just have this expectation. See, I believe that the same Creator that gave me sense, reason, and the capacity to communicate understands 3 very simple principles of good communication. Brevity, consistency, and most of all, clarity. And none of these things are in this book here. So if you're going to get into some convoluted explanation that the Bible is just full of riddles that need to be decoded somehow, why would God write a book essential to our salvation and then deliberately obfuscate its own message? This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It either is the Word of God or it's not the Word of God. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the question that just crushes moderate Christianity. They can't answer it. Is this the Word of God or not? Make up your mind. You can't have it both ways. May God's gift of reason light our way.